Studio.
Hi, my name's David Wild. I was asked to call in
Yes.
Omelette.
Hey, David, it's Omelette here, sir. Thank you so much for taking a couple minutes out of your busy schedule this week.
No, my pleasure. I just didn't know. I called. Did I call a few minutes early? You want me to call back?
No, that's fine. No, I'm ready for you. I've been
Great.
sitting here going over some notes. I'm such a big fan of yours, but
Did you talk to my wife? That makes one of you.
I only learned about you recently, though. I mean, I've been reading your stuff for years without taking note that it was you. But since, because I'm a longtime subscriber of Rolling Stone magazine, being on the Adam Carolla show, I started listening to the podcast, and then I heard you on there, and you broadened my horizons in music.
Oh, no, thank you. You know, it's funny because it was actually about a year ago that Adam and I sort of met, and it was around the Grammy time. He asked me to start coming in, pretty often. So I've been coming in basically weekly, and it's broadened my horizons too. Because now I actually get recognized as a writer. You try to have a voice on the page, but like people actually now when I go around, they go, "I know your voice. Are you that guy on the Adam Carolla podcast?" So I now get voice recognition because it's better than my face recognition because. My face is scary, but my voice is okay.
And another thing that I'm a big fan of is your Twitter feed. We have to get you above Rick Springfield here.
Oh man, Omelette, this is now we get down to what's important. It's like politics may divide us, but let's all agree that Rick Springfield tried to steal Jesse's girl, and I deserve to be past him. And yes, at Wild About Music, I call upon the heart of the American people to take me past Rick. And the funny thing is, I actually do know Rick Springfield a little bit, and I like Rick Springfield, but I am determined to roll Rick on Twitter.
That's a funny rivalry.
It's a mission. It's like I could be solving world peace, but I choose to battle Rick Springfield on Twitter.
David, the thing that I really enjoy the most is that you're sort of living the dream of every music fan, sort of in a reporting behind the scenes kind of way. Like you are working on the Grammys right now. You're writing for the Grammys, which is this Sunday, and so it must be a busy time.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Today is actually the day. We're in a secure bunker in Los Angeles, and about tomorrow we move down to the Staples Center and get our rehearsals going. But my script it goes to, we sort of distribute it for the first time to the people on the show tonight. We go to Mimeo, it's called. So we're in the last minute trying to, and by the way, it's going to be a really great show. Last year, we sort of made headlines and record ratings. And that was partly because, we were coming the day after the Whitney Houston tragedy, and people were tuning to see if we would blow it or how we would handle it. And fortunately, I think we did a good job.
Oh, you handled it beautifully. LL Cool J is the host this year. Are you working directly with him and the presenters? Is that where the writing comes in with the Grammys?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly the job. And LL is a good friend, and I work with him. I've known him for years, but obviously we got really close last year, and we do a lot of projects together. He was supposed to call me at 8:45, and I'm sitting by the phone waiting for him to call because we have a few things to go over. And then the presenters, and we have a few superstars who are not announced that will, I think, be announced soon, or if not, you'll just see them on Sunday if they won't be announced. But today is the day when we start sending them their scripts, and then they start calling me and saying, like this, don't like this. Hopefully they'll just say like this. But that's the process now.
We're on the phone with David Wild, who's live from the Grammys, and working with some of the celebrities. I think I heard on the Adam Carolla podcast you mentioned some of the biggest names do not show up for rehearsals and things like that. Is that a pain to try to deal with, that you're going to send somebody up there live that is not rehearsed and doesn't really know the lines?
Well, in music performers, everyone rehearses. In terms of the presenters, yeah, there are some people who, and again, it depends, like at the Oscars, I've worked on the Oscars and the Emmys. In some shows, they sort of push and insist. It's hard, and so some people won't show up until the show, and then my job is to be backstage and, and basically to I'm basically make sure that movie stars can read well, which generally they're very good at, and the musicians, most of them are good at it. But there are times when I get a little too zealous because I want to make it you always want to make these shows as special as they can be. I remember a couple of years ago I had asked I'd asked that we get Jeff Bridges to do this little segment on Les Paul that it was going to end up with Jeff Beck playing. And I love Jeff Bridges, and he read it, and like I was sort of going over reading with him, and he jokingly said after like the second or third time we went through it, he goes, David, I just got an Oscar nomination, so I think I can handle it. So I occasionally might be a little bit too engaged in the process. But
well, you care about it, and it's really shows. Another one of my favorite moments from the podcast, and again, we'll get on to other things, but when you brought Joe Walsh in the studio, and I also saw that in recent years you sat down with Eddie Van Halen, I guess in the last little while, Keith Richards, along with Johnny Depp, and Steven Tyler as well. I mean, we love these write-ups in Rolling Stone and the Huffington Post. I'd like to talk about your playlist in a minute. But can you give me a quick story or something to say about either Joe Walsh, Eddie Van Halen, or Keith Richards?
Well, let's see. Joe Walsh was just an example of a guy who, how sobriety and, love can change someone. Because I've known Joe for years, but I was on the road with Ringo, and when he was on the road with Ringo,
yes,
and that was before things were totally cleaned up,
right?
And then he ended up, he actually cleaned up a while ago, but I think he was in shell shock for many years, and then just in the last 5 years, I've gotten to know him in a different way because he also married a friend of mine, Marjorie Bach, who's actually Ringo's wife's sister, Barbara Bach's sister, and he's become so happy and so together, and then I think made the best Analog Man is the best album he ever.
It's my favorite of last year. I loved it, and you turned me on to that.
Oh no, so glad to hear that. And yeah, so this thing with Carolla, it really is just a labor of love in that I don't get paid, so it's definitely a labor of love. And so what happened was after I went in, I said to Adam, who's a real music lover and to me, one of the funniest men on earth.
Me too.
I'm on there because I'm just a fan, and I said, why don't I just bring some musicians? And it sort of had a life of its own, and so people have asked to be on it. People have called me who were friends, and there's people like Jeff Lynne, who it turns out Adam is a major.
Oh man, and Alan Parsons and Amy Mann.
Exactly. He has some real passions, and what it is basically when I'm working with someone on a project, I'll just say, hey, you want to come by? And they come out and hang out at the garage with Adam and I, and we've had some great times. I mean,
that's some great conversations. Susanna Hoffs was also on, who I was in love, as everybody else has been in love. But you get to just pick her up in a car and take her over to Adam Carolla's place.
Yeah, well, they don't even. We just meet over there, and everyone's shown up, and it's not glitzy. It's just stripped down and fun and great. And I think there'll be a lot. Hopefully, there'll be a lot more of that to come. And in fact, I didn't get to go on Adam last night because I kind of working some long hours this week.
Sure.
But I'm going to call in from the Staples Center, I think, a Thursday night for Friday's podcast to give a special Adam Carolla Grammy preview. So real good.
David, complimenting you on opening to my eyes to different music, and then I get to kind of turn around and select those and see what's right for our show, and we'll share some of that music with our people. So indirectly, you're helping us over here. Because of your playlists. On the Huffington Post, you'll sometimes write something up that'll be topical, like Election Day or something, and recently with the new enhanced pat-downs at the airport. And then, what are you working on for another playlist? And I can't wait for some new music.
Well, it's funny. These playlists, again, it's like all this stuff is just, I like to express, which sounds, I get the sense you're a passionate music lover too, and I just find the media is changing, and we have to find new ways to express that passion and celebrate it. In fact, I've just been tweeting my ass off today about Dave Grohl's movie, which I don't know if you've seen yet, Sound City, but it is fantastic. Maybe the best rock and roll movie, definitely of this year, and maybe just...
No, I need to see that. What's the name of it again?
It's called Sound City, directed by Dave Grohl, and it is a love letter to the recording studio, but it really is just about the passion for music, and it covers Dave, time with Nirvana. It covers everyone. Stevie Nicks is in it, and she's fascinating. And Rick Springfield is actually
nice.
One of the stars of the film is Rick Springfield, my nemesis and friend. And So, who actually owes me a few bucks, so that's why I'm
hey, another movie we're on with David Wild. Very excited to speak to the contributing editor of Rolling Stone magazine, television comedy writer, author, Huffington Post contributor, regular on the Adam Carolla show. Sellebrity came out recently, and that's available on demand. A movie that you were an executive producer on, and you interviewed Sheryl Crow and Kid Rock. Being from Michigan, you loved interviewing Kid Rock, correct?
Oh, Kid Rock is the best. I came out to Detroit, outside of Detroit, out to his home. And,
My God.
He's one of my favorite guys. I don't know how your relationship with him. I love the guy.
For us around here, he's, it's much like mentioning the word Ted Nugent or Bob Seger.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys. We had a blast. He had my favorite quote in the interview, which is so, unfortunately, it involves Jesus and a curse word, so I can't repeat it on the air. But yeah, you can. I think on demand watch Sellebrity, which is I executive produce that. It's my first film actually as an executive producer, and it's weird because I'm a TV guy and a book guy and a print guy.
Right.
But somehow the last year I fell into some movie stuff. I did a cameo in This Is 40. I was the Jewish rock critic in the yarmulke interviewing Graham Parker.
I can't wait to see that. That's Paul Rudd, Judd Apatow.
Yeah, Judd Apatow's movie, and I've yet to hear any calls for a spin-off just about me. But, and I was actually asked to be on, I may be on tomorrow on another TV show playing myself. So this might be my new career, playing myself on movies and TV shows.
Quickly getting back to Sellebrity, it's the price of fame, and you're talking to people about the privacy issues and the paparazzi and stuff. I was always told by, I think, my mother, like it's pretty rude to take somebody's picture without their permission. What is the message from the celebrities in this? What's the take on the movie?
The movie started out basically Kevin Mazur, who directed it and is a good friend of mine and a Rolling Stone photographer and for every major sort of rock photographer and celebrity photographer. He wanted to direct the movie. He asked me to executive produce and do the interviews for the most part. And we talked to everyone from the paparazzi themselves to Jennifer Aniston to J-Lo to Kid Rock, Elton John, Sheryl Crow, and I talked to all these people and basically just trying to get at what is our obsession with celebrity today and what are the limits and how does it impact us? Because I think it's basically just saying that we have now made. I mean, this is sort of, to me, the message is we've made celebrity our new religion, and we ought to take a look at really how obsessed we are. Because I think it leads to some dangerous places. Right, physically and morally and ethically. And listen, no one is more interested in celebrity than I am.
Right.
But Kevin and I both come from magazines that celebrate it, but we just want to say we should stop short of getting little kids. I mean, I think then really where the movie comes down is, okay, adults may ask for this, but their kids don't. And let's stop as a people, chasing children down, at school to sell a few magazines. But the movie itself, if you watch it, and you can watch it on demand, it's an open debate. It's sort of, let's at least discuss the issues.
They want to be famous, and then when they get really famous, you can't get a minute to yourself.
I'm fortunate in that I'm not at all famous.
David Wild about music. One more question, sir. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Knowing Jan Winter, there's a conspiracy theory going on here in Michigan, and I just wanted your opinion. Ted Nugent, should he be discussed in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame discussion? And Grand Funk, being both from Michigan, I don't know if we're biased here from an objective standpoint and knowing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Ted claims on our show that it's political, with Jan Winter being very liberal.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I'm a voter, but I'm not on the nominating committee, so I don't know those discussions. I just get the ballots and I do vote. But I will say that my favorite Ted Nugent, I think Ted is a great rock and roll character, and one of my favorite discussions ever was after I did liner notes for Aerosmith. I got a call at the Rolling Stone office, and they said, it's Ted Nugent. So I picked it up, and he goes, dude, I thought when you became a rock critic, you had to leave your dick at the door, but you're still holding on to yours with both hands.
Nice. That's high praise.
I said, well, thank you, Mr. Nugent. He goes, I want you to, since you did I loved your Aerosmith notes, I want you to write my notes. I said, and I think he could hear me hesitating, thinking, do I want to do this? He goes, dude, don't worry if you don't love me. I love me enough for both of us. And I actually took him up on it and did write the notes for it. It was, I think,
Out
a
of
box set called Out of Control.
Out of Control, absolutely.
Yeah, he said, and I took his word, and I just quoted Ted talking about how great Ted is. It worked out just fine.
I love that booklet that comes with the box set. But should Ted be involved with the discussion of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Sure, I think it should be put up to the vote, and then I will be glad to give him a fair vote. I respect his pyrotechnic guitar and his endless, ballsy approach to life. I don't politically agree with him on much, but I kind of admire him and his life force. And then Grand Funk, I am a lifelong Grand Funk fan. I completely would vote for Grand Funk if they were.
No kidding.
I think they're underappreciated beyond belief. I don't think Mark Farner is with them on their current version. But I think the combination, I saw when they went on the reunion tour, I went, and it was one of the greatest concerts I ever saw because the crowd appeared to be the same crowd that was there in the 70s. They had not showered since. It was the same jeans and the same motorcycle mamas, and this was in L.A.
We can't tell you how much we appreciate your time, and especially from the Grammys and being so busy. We're big music fans, and you give us an outlet to dive deeper into the celebrities and to the music people and the television. So follow David Wild at Wild About Music on Twitter.
Please, and thank you. I love talking to you, and so let's talk again sometime. But please check out the Grammys this Sunday. You won't be let down, and I'll be backstage sweating, working hard for you.
Nice, and we'll be following you on Twitter, getting even more in depth. Thank you so much, David Wild.
Thank you, Omelette.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.